Affairs Analyst Victor Teo. He joins us live now from Singapore. Thank you so much for your time, sir. So Trump tried to halt the violence with a peace agreement a few months back. But what about the root causes of this conflict? Have those been resolved, and where do mediation efforts, if any, stand?
Well, I think, first of all, the root causes of the conflict has not been addressed, and certainly not by President Trump as well as the parties to the mediation. So there are a few things here. First of all, the Thais are very unhappy. Of course, the Thai and Cambodia, they are plagued by the colonial legacy of the border demarcation. So each side feels that there isn't actually a fair solution to this. So there's a deeply ingrained sense of cultural nationalism on either side. And I think key to the conflict is Thailand's unhappiness over the ICJ's ruling of the sovereign rights of Cambodia over the temples concern. So this goes way back to 1962, when the Cambodians asked the ICJ to abdicate, and the ICJ actually ruled in favor of the Cambodians. And all along, throughout the decades, we have seen the Thais challenging this decision. So I think when the Cambodians tried to lease the 11th century Pure Viha temple as a UNESCO heritage site, that was when things escalated. And this is way back in, and we see fighting breaking out in 2008, 2011. There is also the dynamics of local actors involved, and there are a lot of parties here. And the recent fighting actually involves dispute over three other temple sites along the border. So the Thais are actually reasserting this. But behind the politics of this all is the fallout of the prominent families, the Shinawatra clan in Thailand, which have seen 3 prime ministers come and go, and also with Hun Sen and his son, the current Prime Minister Hun Manet. So there is a tussle between these families, and in each country between these prominent families and the powerful domestic actors. So it's becoming very complicated, this dispute, and I think in order to address the root cause of it all is going to take a long time, and it's certainly something that is not achievable by just the dominant politicians coming together to sign a peace agreement. It would not hold.
Oh, that was a really interesting and comprehensive breakdown. I just want to go back to what you were, or pick up rather, on what you were saying at the end. This U.S. brokered deal that Thailand has already suspended the implementation of, where do you think that stands, and do you see the U.S. re-engaging in this conflict, particularly at a time that it's knee-deep in Gaza and Ukraine?
For sure. But President Donald Trump, I think it's not a bad thing that he's so invested in peace talks. I mean, we all understand that he would like to have a Nobel Peace Prize nomination, and I think he has his work cut out for him. And certainly, for a president to be so U.S. president, particularly to be so invested in peacemaking, I think this is a good thing, regardless of the motivation. So this is the first thing. The second thing is whether he can resolve this or not within his term. I think it's going to be really challenging, because it does not mean doesn't mean that you can use U.S. power to pressure both Thailand and Cambodia to come to the table and talk. Because the moment the peace deal is done, as we've seen, this was just done at the end of November, the local actors unravel the whole thing. So it's going to be very difficult going forward, and I don't think this is going to be a straight path forward. I think the president, of course, will come back and try to hold a peace deal, but the question is whether this brokered peace would last permanently. I think that's a big question. So this is what we are seeing in the Middle East as well, between the Arabs and the Israelis. It's a protracted conflict that no one party will be able to superimpose a structure to ensure the rest of the actors do not fight. I think that's going to be very difficult. But I do not think that the peacemakers should give up trying. In fact, they should try to address the root cause of the conflict, more deeply than they have done.
All right, Victor Teo, really appreciate that analysis.
Thank you.
To us.